eRacing Grand Prix Season 7. We just had a reminder there of some of the histrionics of last season's Gold edition. We've got Gold and Silver still to come ahead. We've had Copper, and now we are at Bronze, where there's one or two familiar names getting ready for this short season. Alex Young and Aragon Circuit, and again, an interesting selection of cars want to challenge the Bronze racers.
Yes, I mean, we are using the GT4 cars, so multi-makes, many different makes out there. But yeah, the GT4 cars are nice. We have used them before, but we haven't used them for a while. And I do like this class because there are a lot of new cars in this class now. And it'll be very interesting to see how they do, which cars go quick, which cars go slow. We're watching Villanueva right now in the Lotus. I think I've seen him use the Lotus before in the past, actually. So we do know he likes this car.
Looks rather splendid, I must confess. One or two new names out there for us as well. Sean O'Carroll, we just saw him compete and struggle a little bit in the Copper class. He's moved up to Bronze class. The more hours you can get out on the track, the better.
Yeah, absolutely. And we will see some of these drivers try and do two different categories. And that's fine. We do allow drivers in the lower category to go to a higher category. But it's very important we don't allow the guys in the higher category come and compete with the lower category, because we need to give the guys who are getting better and not as experienced a chance to race with drivers of their own level.
The winner of the reverse grid race that we've just seen, Chris Chu, he's stayed in the cockpit as well. He's pretty happy. He's a happy chappy to have picked up his first ever win. And let's see if he can actually step up a class as well. We're not expecting him to be competitive, are we? Not at this level.
Actually, I mean, the way he drove just now in the Copper class when he took his first win in the eRacing GP, I was very impressed with that driving, actually. He was clean, although he doesn't look very clean there right now. But no, I'm not expecting him to win because he had done a lot more practice in the CR1 in preparation for Copper. I think this one here right now, the GT4, doesn't look like he's hooked up with the car very much. So no, I think he'll be more of a midfield runner today.
Last season's Copper champion, Yang, he is going to be competing today, and out on the circuit he's the fastest in the split time through the first section of the track. I know you like Yang. You were speaking very highly of him last year. It was a good championship that he won in Copper, and it could just build up your confidence.
Yeah. So Yang Ming here, I mean, he came into Copper, missed the first round, and you can see his racecraft was all over the place, but his speed was there. You know, that's how he won the Copper Championship, the very last race of the season. He's coming to Bronze, and he's been very quick on the leaderboard. He's a young kid. I think he's 14, 13 maybe, and you can see there will be inexperience. He will make mistakes, but there's no denying that the speed of this driver has good potential for the future.
Another racer I enjoyed watching, certainly in the earlier season, Sri Murugan. He was interesting in that he wasn't very disciplined when he first came into eRacing. He improved out of sight as these seasons progressed, if I recall.
Yeah, so absolutely right. And he was really quick in the beginning. You know, we thought he was going to be very, very promising, but didn't quite work out for him. And just kind of gone off the boil a little bit, but he is very exciting to watch. So let's see what happens later on. But we should try and maybe let's run on board with Sri Murugan right now. He hasn't even started yet. Let's follow. How about Nico Sage? Yeah, we haven't seen Nico Sage in a while, the young driver, and let's see him start a lap. The French driver, based here in Malaysia. Again, a youngster. I think he's only like 9 or 10 years old. And let's follow him for a lap right now. Braking for turn 1 as he comes through turn 1. And you can see there, he comes out of turn 2 there. Just right on board with the cockpit through turns 2, and now turns 3 coming up. Just a small lift. Yep, small lift back on the power. Good acceleration out of there before coming to turn 4, which then tightens into turn 5. And turn 5 is very tricky. You have to be cautious not to jump on the throttle too early, or you will have issues with running out of road. Track limits is always an issue. 6, now turn 7. Good exit out there. I love this cockpit view. Cockpit view is always very exciting. Over the brow, now for turn 8 and 9, I believe. Very tight corners. Again, sort of corners you can easily overcook on. But no, Nico Sage seems to have got a good exit out of there at the moment. And yeah, flat out now through these next couple left-handers, which are, one of them you have to take a small lift before braking. I think it is turn 13.
Coming up over the brow of the hill. Yeah, he's fast. He's fast at the moment.
He is fast. Young Nico doing a good job. This is the corner that it can catch out a lot of drivers, especially if you touch the curb on the entrance. And then just about flat, so there's a bit of a shake, a bit of a wiggle there. Really, really pushing this Audi R8 to its limits. Now this left-hander, so important to get right. Oh, he's missed the apex. He's turned in too late, and he's missed the apex, which will cost him time. Because if you can carry 1 or 2 Ks down, up out of that corner, you carry that extra speed all the way down straight. And I know he's purple at the moment, but I'm pretty sure we're going to see someone else go quicker in a while.
Well, the purple is looking good at the moment. Kelvin Powell and Dave Smart seem to be on fairly quick laps as well, as does Edward Wong and Chris Stew for that matter. Francis Mateo and Nazir Asman also out there, but young Nico, let's see what kind of a lap he can put together in the Audi. 4 Audis have been selected by the drivers. Oh, he's dropped down into P7. So that's frustrating. To 8 tenths down he was. Francis Matrio is the man who's quickest from Philippines.
Yes, and Matrillo does like that. He's another driver that likes the Lotus, loves the Black Lotus, so there he is out there. Oh, look at that. Yang Ming Chu has gone quickest right now in the Porsche. Wow. Copper class champion. And he's 4 tenths up on the next car. That's going to be tough to beat. Maybe she could go back to Francis Matrillo and see if Francis can close down that gap. See, okay, he's gone green in Sector 1, but he's still 2 tenths down on Yang Ming's time at the moment. So he's going to have to find something special in the next 2 sectors if he's going to challenge for pole.
May well be talking to Kian Butler joining us for commentary in a short while for the race itself, just to spread the voices around. But Francis Matrio trying to spread the love around to the Philippines. At the moment, it's Malaysia leading from Philippines, as Villanueva is the 3rd fastest. Lap times 2:07.0 is the time set by Yang Ming Chu. Francis Matrio 2:07.4. And he hasn't improved on that. In fact, he's just restarted his lap. Kelvin Powell, not too bad away, 2:08. But there's only 2 minutes left, so only those drivers out on the circuit now will have a chance to actually try to get into the top 5.
Actually, we'll see if we can talk to Kian now, actually. Kian, how's it going, mate? Can you hear us?
It's I can hear you guys loud and clear. Hopefully you can hear me just the same, but it's looking like a good qualifying session so far, isn't it?
Certainly is. Yang Ming Chu, the copper champion, setting the pace at the moment, Kian. Francis Matrio just about to complete his lap now, but I don't think he's going to be able to pick up the best part of half a second on Yang Ming Chu. Yang looking the business.
Yeah, he really is. It's he's pulled himself a gap of about 4 tenths already with a 2:07 flat, which is a pretty competitive lap time compared to the rest of the field currently. I'd probably keep an eye on Matrillo and the Zakiri to see if either of those two can pull up, but don't count Janssen Villanueva out as well, as Lamb goes 2nd fastest now, 3 tenths back.
Chester Lamb, yeah, he's but still 3 tenths down. It means that Yang Ming Chu lap was mighty quick. Mohammed Zikri's posted a 2:07 to push Kelvin Powell out of the top 5 point scorers. Chris Chu, who won the race that we just saw before, at 2:09.305. So I don't think he's going to be competing up at the top end. How about Matrio? Matrio is still on his fast lap, or is he? No, he's not going to make this lap, is he? Only 30 seconds left.
Yeah, no, it's going to be tough for him. I don't think he's going to make the lap at all. But Chester Lamb there from Hong Kong, great job there to go P2.
So Yang Ming Chu at the moment at 2:07.076. 3 tenths faster than Chester Lamb from Z Challenger Racing. Villanueva and Francis Matrio make it an all-Filipino 2nd row of the grid. Mohammed Zikri and Kelvin Powell an all-Malaysian 3rd row of the grid. And young Nico Sage alongside Dave Smart on the 4th row. I'm assuming you've raced Aragon many times in your time. Where are we?
This is actually one of those tracks that I've never actually driven in the sim, so it's going to be a new experience to go around. I've had a look at the track map. I've had a look. I think there are a couple of places that look like a really good overtaking zone, but it's got to come down to that run into turn 1 for those top 4.
So it can get very, very physical at the very start of these laps, I've got to say, because you've got those opening corners, which can be very, very tight and very congested. We're just waiting now. We've got about 45 seconds. Was there anybody outside of the top 5 who you could see was putting together a half-decent lap there?
Not on my end there. Maybe Alex saw something there quickly.
Yeah, yeah, I think you know, I'm not going to put I'm not going to put myself out there. I think there could be a lot of surprises today. I think on the front though, I'm quite surprised Yang Ming was put it on pole, Copper Class champion. We have seen that before though, guys going up a category and being strong. Can he do it in the race though?
Okay, we are just about set. The red lights are on. When they go off, we will be underway for the first of 2 races. We are on board with Yang Ming Chu. He is the defending Copper Class champion, and he's got himself off to a lovely, steady start there. Chester Lamb under pressure behind him. Mohamed Zikri's got off to a flyer. The Malaysian has got himself up into P2. And so it is Yang Ming Chu who, fastest on qualification, has got himself off to a flyer.
Wow, that's really good. And if you watch on the insert there, he's actually been coached there by Nakib Aslan, one of the Go champions. He's won the last Go championship. So, yeah, but then as we talk about it, Yang Ming makes a mistake there, and now Chester Lamb's all over the back of him.
And Chester tries to go around the outside. Oh. And then a little bit of back-end wheel wobble. Great pace coming down the hill, but Yang Ming Chu is able to hold on. Then Chester Lamb tries to go on the outside. The switchback isn't quite going to work. Again, the drivers have been very disciplined. There hasn't been an awful lot of contact in those early corners.
Yeah, it's been a clean start to the race there, and we're on board now with Yang Ming Chu. We have Chester Lamb just behind us, 1.5 tenths back. He's been able to make a couple of glimpses of a move, but so far that Porsche holding strong. As Chester Lamb, it's a much tighter run for that corner. He's going to try and go around the outside and then follow in corner, get the switchback done perhaps. That Lotus is right on the tail of the Porsche. Up the inside he goes. Chester Lamb trying for that move. It's going to be Ming Chu back up the inside, around the outside, and these two are switching back and forth. A little bit of contact there, but that is Chester Lamb now up into the lead halfway through lap 1.
That is terrific. Somebody has spun out. I think it's Edward Wong or Nashville has spun out up at the top of the hill, but it's Chester Lamb from Hong Kong who posted a very, very quick lap time at the tail end of qualification, who leads going down the hill, but then is able not to hold on because pushed out by Yang Ming Chu, then wins it back. It is so much contact there.
And just
too wide still.
Yeah, just actually, I want to talk a bit about the guy in third place. Because the guy in third place, Mohamed Zikri, we haven't mentioned him. He's right on the back of these guys. And Zikri, as we know from Endurance Edition, is very, very quick indeed, Kian.
Yeah, he's been doing a brilliant job. We had that one race last season where he overtook in the last corner and took the win from there. So this is someone that knows how to pass in those tight situations. And just ahead, those two scrapping away, the Porsche and the Lotus looking relatively evenly matched so far, but Lamb having to do everything he can as Ming Chu runs wide. Lamb's going to be alongside once again. That Porsche is doing everything he can to hold it behind, but Zakiri as well is going to be entering the fray in just a moment as he's right on the tail of that Lotus. It's a little bit of a bump going through that right-hander there, and the Lotus is going to go to the left-hand side. The Audi of Zakiri, Francis Petrillo, they're going side by side as well through the right-hander, and it looks like Lamb is about to retake the lead. So these guys are scrapping away, and that's leaving the door open for Zakiri to close that gap up and maybe start making this a three-way battle.
You are quite right. Chester Lamb has got himself back into the front ahead of Yang Ming Chu. But what a thrilling race this is. All 4 of these seem to be really well matched. Chester Lamb is then pushed sideways by Yang Ming Chu. Yang is now the new race leader. I think that's the 4th change of lead. Make that 5 change of lead because Chester Lamb brings it back, and Chester Lamb will lead the switchback attempt by Yang Ming Chu. So he's now the latest leader. It is swapping lead every other corner, Kian.
Yeah, it really is, and then once again, they're side by side. You'd think this is 8-wheel racing here because these two are just not separating at all. The Audi and the Lotus for third and fourth, looking to have a bit of a scrap here. But around the outside, that Porsche is going to try and go into the braking zone. The Lotus has a better defensive line. Two Lotuses trying to make something happen. The Porsche brakes later, trying to go around the outside, but that Lotus is going to make it happen. A little bit of a bump there from Zakiri. Zakiri looking for the door up the inside now, but that Porsche is still defending well and attacking at the same time. A brilliant multitasking job there from Ming Chu as he gets back into the lead, and Zakiri is now challenging the Lotus down the straight into turn 1. Who's it going to be? That's going to leave Chester Lamb in a position there to fall down to third place, and he's looking for the switchback, but that is Zakiri currently up into P2, so what we said might happen with that Audi coming up as those two drivers ahead scrap away, that has happened now.
I also need to point out that Nico Sage has got himself into a really good position. He's just in P5, so while those front four have been scrapping away, there is the view that Nico Sage has. The young Frenchman is looking really, really good, and he's in the equation, as is Villeneuve, as is Kelvin Pau, as is almost Balagulan. There's really 8 in this scrap, and where are we? We're only a third of the way through this race.
Yeah, these two Lotuses are going absolutely at it up ahead. They've been dive bombing corner to corner, bumping into each other. Now Nico Sage is going to try and hold the position on the Lotus of, I believe that's Villanueva, as he stays in 5th. He's got 2 more behind him. Ming Chu finally starting to pull away a bit of a gap now, and Chester Lamb is doing everything he can to desperately try and stay in touch with Zakiri, who is now enjoying a bit of that free air as well behind the Porsche.
So that Ming Chu gap, well, he says pulling away, it's only half a second, but he's been able to break away from the rest of the pack. He's leading the front four for the first time. There's a little bit of daylight for the race leader.
Wow.
A bit of a train. That was some good stuff there, wasn't it, Alex?
Yeah, great stuff there. Just loving listening to you guys. But Zikri there in the draft as well. I just love that there's so many young drivers doing so well. I mean, Zikri's not exactly old. I think he's like 20. Yang Ming Chu there, 13. Nico Sage, I don't know, was it 5? he's so young. Oh, someone runs wide there, Kian.
It was Nico
Sage. I think that was Nico Sage, yeah.
Oh, dear.
So he's in P6. Villeneuve capitalizing to get up into P5. Matrio in P4. Chester Lamb in P3. So the front three have got themselves about a 1.4 second lead over Matrio and Janssen. But there's a lot of racing still to go.
With 8 minutes left, it's looking a good one so far. We're about, just about a third of the way through the race now, halfway, and it's been quite enthralling so far. In terms of what to look out for going forward, it's going to be up to Yang Ming Chu to try and open up a bit of a gap on Zakiri. Zakiri, though, one of those drivers we know can kind of just sit there, have a bit of a quiet race, and then when time comes to make it count, he can make that happen. Chester Lamb will be wanting to recover. He was in the lead for a point, so there is some storylines going on here, but further behind it is Lotus 3, 4, 5, so those 3 cars are looking competitive as well.
Francis Matrio has just received a slow-down penalty for abusing track limits, which doesn't surprise me with all the racing that's going on. But for now, Alex, it seems as though there might just be a little bit of settling down.
Yeah, definitely some settling down, but okay, now actually we're about halfway through the race. It's not over yet, is it? Zikri there in P2, he's coming under pressure from Chester Lamb. Chester Lamb had that moment earlier on. But it's going to come down to who can hold their composure the most, I think, And you have to say with Ming Chu, Yang Ming being so young, it's going to be a big question. But he is being fortunate that he has got the current gold champion coaching him at the moment.
Literally, as you're seeing, well, Nakib has stood aside, so clearly watching what is going on. But Yang Ming Chu, well, the lead is now as big as it has been, and he's broken the slipstream. So it's approaching 0.8 of a second as he comes down to the bottom of the hill, which is a treacherous one to work out, but he's got that one just about right. Like he's on tracks, Yang Ming Chu goes forward. Mohamed Zikri, I do feel Mohamed Zikri, though, Kian, is just sitting and waiting. You alluded to that earlier on, but he certainly seems to be the man who's likely to strike if anyone is.
Yep, I think the Audi will be a little bit more lenient on its tires throughout the stint, considering I think the weight distribution is a little bit better than those Porsches who tend to sit pretty heavily on the back. So those front tires of Yang Ming-Chu might start to go away a little bit towards the end of this race. That might be the point where Zakiri will try and have a look. But those Lotuses behind, once again, Lamb and Matrillo are starting to scrap away. They are looking a little bit skittish there. Is Chester Lamb. You see that little Mattia Bonotto profile picture there. You're always going to love that. But we have Matrillo right on Lamb now. He's looking up the inside. Just a little bit of a nose. And Chester Lamb is going to run wide. So that is going to be 2x2 then once again for Matrillo now, who is going down the hill. Getting ready. I believe it's a sharp right-hander into a long left. Yes, it is. And that is Chester Lamb, who seems to have managed to hold on to P3 for the time being. And indeed, yes, he has. Matrillo has slotted him back behind at the P4.
So Chester Lamb in P3. Ahead of them, Yang Ming-Chu and Zikri are beginning to establish just a little bit of a lead. Yang Ming-Chu in the black and yellow, looking very, very assured, looking confident at this stage. Where are we? We are into the final quarter of the race, final third of the race. And Yang Ming-Chu has actually been leading from the start. Zikri has been battling to get alongside him. Chester Lamb's had a moment in the glory as well. But this is a mature performance so far from young Yang Ming-Chu.
Yeah, it is. And look at that. He's just... wow, look, Zikri's so close, isn't he, Kian? But just not getting the slipstream that he needs to try and close the gap down to the leader.
Yeah, the Porsche seems to be quite well in those straight line situations. The Audi and the Lotus seem to fare a bit better in the corners, which you can see here. He's right back on its tail through the corners, and then he's kind of left hanging on the straight. So if he's going to make something happen, he has to make it with a bit of a lunge, a bit of a risky maneuver. But in this opening round, it's all to play for.
Now it's going to be fascinating to see how many laps we've got left. 4:10 left. They're lapping 2:07, 2:08. It could well be that we've only got 2 laps left.
Wow, I think someone's coming out of the pits there, but Zikri's all over Yang Ming. I know you haven't driven this track much, Kian, but where can he overtake other than the back straight?
I think there's some good situations or potential places to overtake. If you can get the inside of turn 7, which is the turn after the turn 6 here, then you can run that down the inside of turn 8 and then hopefully try and squeeze him out by that point. But through the right-hander we go with Zakiri, but further back now with one of the Lotuses, that is Villanueva, who's had an off there. Yeah, I think that Audi really just has to try and make something happen in the braking zones, and I think Ming-Chu kind of knows that at this point.
So Villeneuve it was who was competing for P4 with Francis Matrillo. He has dropped down. That means Nico Sage has got himself up into P5. But our focus is remaining with this battle for P1. Yang Ming-Chu is the man who is holding it. Mohamed Zikri is the man who's just in the profile picture, bottom right of your screen. There is Zikri. It looks like he's working hard there. He's certainly living the experience, floating around. But he can't get much closer. And again, as they come down onto this long straight, invariably he's 8/10 down. That's been consistent over the last 2 laps, Kian.
Yeah, he's going to close up a little bit on the corner exit there. You see already it's down to about 6.5 tenths. So he's got a little bit of a slipstream. That Porsche's going to pull away in the straight again. As you see, it's flipping back up to 7 tenths. He's going to gain a lot on the braking and through these low-speed corners. That's where this Audi really tends to excel over the rear weight-laden Porsche up ahead. So he's going to come into the braking zone through the left-hander. We're in the final quarter now. Almost the final fifth. 2 minutes, 16 seconds remaining. It's a bit easier to stomach. And I think that Porsche, maybe a second wind in the tires, but I think we were starting to see the effects of tire wear on those front tires, which aren't as heavily loaded up, so they'll be scraping around a little bit more on that Porsche. That could come into factor towards the end of this race.
I tell you what, this is going to be really tight as to whether or not this is the last lap or not. Because as they cross the start-finish line, I reckon there was 2:07 to go, and the top racers are lapping at 2:07. So this might be the last lap, or it might just be that they race so hard that they have 2 laps to go. That is how tight it is at the moment.
And Zakiri here, he's hoping that it's another 2 laps because there's more time to try and make a pass happen. Ming-Chu, on the other hand, he hopes this is the last lap, so we might see some shenanigans towards the end where he's starting to back off a little bit in places where Zakiri can't really pass and try and make sure that this is the last lap. He's got about half a second to play with now. Let's see how this plays out towards this lap.
That would be a gamble, though, just to try and slow things down, because if you get the wrong exit coming out of a corner when you've slowed down, Zikri may well be able to capitalize, quickly breaking away. Chester Lamb is safely through in P3. Matrio is in P4. Sage Nico, or Nico Sage, sorry, I keep getting that one wrong. Nico Sage from in the Audi is in P5. Kelvin Pau from Malaysia is in P6. But we've got to go back up to the front, because I think, Kian, exactly what you were suggesting is happening. He's just backed off just a little bit there, Yang Ming Chu. And what it's done, it's allowed Zikri to come forward.
Yeah, interesting position there to back off. That's allowed Zakiri right on the tail now. We've seen that Porsche good, but this close, there should be a slipstream. Will we see Zakiri pull out and try and make the move happen? We're on board now with Zakiri. What's it gonna be? Is it going to be a big lunge? No, it's not. Deep on the brakes, though, is the Porsche. He's gone deep. That's Zakiri up the inside now. There's a bit of contact.
Oh!
Zakiri's around. Zakiri is around. So that's exactly what we've been saying. Shouldn't happen there. Chester Lamb also gets taken out in collateral, and that's going to give Yang Ming Chu the opportunity to slow right down and come across the line in P1. Absolute hard stuff there for Zakiri and Lamb on that final lap.
Yang Ming Chu, as you can see in the screen, absolutely thrilled to bits. He did back off. He did make sure the final lap wasn't inside 207, and he was able to capitalize on the mistake from Mohamed Zikri, who has spun so far badly out. Zikri is going to finish in P8, which is good news for the reverse grid race, but dreadful news for this first race. Machio to P2, Nico Sage 3, Kelvin Pau unofficially in 4, but Yang Ming Chu, Copper champion, winning the first race of the season in bronze, Alex Young.
Wow, what a great drive. And very mature drive, I have to say. You know, you can see he looked a little bit nervous the first few laps, made a couple of mistakes, kept making mistakes in turn 5. But he settled down. He settled down so well. And, you know, Zikri coming down the inside of him on effectively the last corner, still held his nerve to take his first win in bronze.
And a good result for Francis Matrio as well, for the Filipino. And Nico Sage, gosh, what a boost that is for the young Frenchman based in Malaysia. But a P3, a place on the podium. And for these kids, that can only just boost their confidence and maintain their interest in this sport.
Yeah, and just, yeah, absolutely. And I have to feel for Zikri, though. You know, he'd driven really well. Just too much, really. He just made a mistake. I think he had the contact with Yang Ming, and he just overreacted to it. I don't think he needed to yank the wheel. That little bit of contact was okay, but it forced him into a spin.
So Ming Chu gets the result. Zikri P8, but the fastest lap, if that's any consolation. It means he'll pick up 10 points, but Ming Chu will pick up 25. Matrio 20 in second. Nico Sage in third, 16 points. Kelvin Pau will pick up 13. Balagulan from Philippines will also be in there as well. So we've got about a minute before the second race. Alex Young alongside me, Des Corkill. And Alex, well, I tell you what, that elevation from copper to bronze suggests that this young fella, Yang Ming Chu, might be able to really develop as a racer.
Yeah, and we've seen that with a lot of the youngsters coming through, haven't we? Remember when Axel, he did really well, and I don't think he won copper, but he then won bronze, and now he's in silver, and Axel Nolkom, he's coming up later. He's 9, I think. So we do see the younger guys, they are adapting quite well, and they're able to go through the ranks quite quickly. But yeah, there are going to be a lot of other drivers who want to see that change now.
Okay, we are ready. Reverse grid race. The red lights are on at the moment. We have got Chris Chu on pole position. P10 for Chris Chu in race 1. He won race 2 from the first row of the grid. This time he's got Sri Murugan alongside him. And again, a really strong start from Chris Chu. Mohamed Zikri, though, has made a flying start. And the man who was pushed down to P8 has got himself off into P3 at the moment. But Chu leads from Sri Murugan from Zikri. Nazir Asman and Chester Lamb in the Porsche up into P4. But it's a solid start for Chris Chu, Kian Butler.
Yeah, Chris Chu doing a good job there to get away in that Lotus. We got Sri Murugan, and already Zakiri is trying to make it around the outside. He slotted him back behind the Mercedes driver there, But so far, a pretty clean start from everyone. We could see a little bit of action heating up as we see drivers like Chester Lamb trying to make their way past Nico Sage. So there is, and in fact, he's made it past Nico Sage already. So there's a lot of action going up and down the field as the faster drivers try and filter the way forwards.
Chu still, though, has the lead. The big Mercedes of Sri Murugan. We're on board with him at the moment. Mohamed Zikri will be trying to get past Sri Murugan as soon as he possibly can. But those first three, they've got themselves about a second and a half lead over Chester Lamb, Nazir, and Nico Sage. And Nico is trying to get that position back that he lost ahead of Nazir Asman. Villanova, who we saw drop out, he's got himself up into P8. And race 1 winner Yang Ming Chu in the yellow and black there, car number 4. Yang Ming Chu from the academy. He's got himself up into P9 and he's trying to go on the inside of Villanova to make up some time. It really is physical out there, Alex. The damage is, the guys have got to watch the damage.
Yeah, they have to. Damage is not off from this. Damage is on, sorry, shall I say. So they do hit each other too many times. The cars will suffer and lose performance, and maybe even damage so much they can't even finish the race.
I can tell you, in P2 now is Mohamed Zikri. He's got ahead of the Mercedes of Sri Murugan, and Zikri, having come so close in race number 1, Kian Butler, I think he really wants to make amends in race number 2.
You briefly saw the determination in his eyes there, as with Mohamed Zikri going through the left-hander now, he's trying to close down on Chris Chu. It's got to be absolutely, gut-wrenching to make it so far in the race and then come down into 8th, but that's the risk, kind of the risk-reward ratio that you got to balance out in these early stages of the championship. And now it's his turn to try and just get as many points as he can in the second race before the odds become insurmountable. But it's early days, is it, for Mohamed Zikri as he tries to close down for the lead?
Well, Zikri is putting pressure on Chris Chu. I can tell you behind them, Chester Lamb is just edged around Sri Murugan. So Chester Lamb has got himself into P3 in the Hong Kong racer, who did so well in race 1. He got P2 in the qualification as well, but Sri Murugan then just seemed to give him a love tap, as Alex calls him. Terrifying, but Zikri still leads. Zikri second. Chris Chu is the man still in the lead. The green, a traditional racing green. Got to love that on a Lotus. It's the only colour you can put on a Lotus, Alex Young.
Green. I don't like green. I don't know.
Racing green.
Racing
Come on,
green.
It's tradition.
Well, you know how unlucky racing green has been over the years, that a lot of the British teams have stopped using it.
Yes.
Yes. Well, let's see if it's lucky for Chris Chu, though.
Well, he's already won 1 in the copper class today. It'll be a heck of a surprise if he does wins 1 here, because Mohamed Zikri has driven esports at a very, very high level. Chester Lamb in P3. Let's have a look at Nico Sage down in P5 at the moment. He's got Sri Murugan in his sights, Clint Olive behind. What have you made of this young fella so far, Kian Butler?
He's been a very, very solid pair of hands so far behind the wheel. As you see that he's having a little bit of a look down the inside. He's broken a lot later than Sri Murugan, so he might try and make this work. As in fact, up the inside and a relatively clean pass at that. A little bit of rubbing is racing, but he can get these in this. As there's a tap in the back, and round goes Sri Murugan. I'm not sure about what side was at fault there, but I think that was mainly just a racing incident. Good work there from Nico Sage to make it up and basically control that line past into the final corners.
Up at the front, Chris Chu under pressure still from Mohamed Zikri. Again, lap limits are being abused. No valid lap time has been set by the first 4 racers. And Nico Sage is now up to P4. Now, Yang Ming Chu, I need to report, has got himself up quietly and efficiently up into P6, Kian.
A very controlled drive so far from the Porsche driver. It is always going to be a little bit easier to, as in fact, say controlled drive. He goes a bit wide, he gets a bit of a slowdown penalty, but it's always going to be a little easier to make your way past some of your competition when you have that, extra oomph down the straight, which the Porsche seems to have over the other cars. So he has made an efficient choice with his car choice there, as he's able to hold on through the corners and down the straights. Now we might see some action here on either of the Lotuses ahead.
Picked up 25 points in race number 1. Currently in P6. It's lesser points in race 2. It's 15 points for the win rather than 25 because of the reverse grid. But it's still very useful to have those wins on the board. little bit further down, Sri Murugan. So, well, we saw him slide out and he slid down to P20. The camera's enjoying that, but Sri Murugan down in P20. Back up to the front. Chu still leads the way. Gosh, what a day this is turning out for Chris Chu, Alex Young.
Wow, so Chris Chu, he won the reverse grid race in copper just now. If he could win the reverse grid race in bronze as well, that would be something.
That would be pretty unique. I can't think of too many who've done that in one race in 2 classes.
Yeah, well,
same day.
That's the same day. We have seen a couple though. Remember the Hong Kong drivers did it. Triple L. I think.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. He was a class of both. But anyway, Chester Lamb, talking of Hong Kong, he's closing in on the front 3. We've rather ignored him. And these 3 have got a 3-second advantage over Nico Sage and Clint Olive in P4 and P5. So as we approach the halfway point of the race, these 3 are pulling away, Kian Butler.
Yeah, Zakiri might find himself the German sausage filling inside of an English breakfast muffin here, as we have 2 Lotuses and 1 Audi going on here. That's a bit of a stretched analogy, but I'll take it anyway.
It was a heck of a stretched analogy.
As we go through the left-hander now, that Audi seems to be a bit better through the corners, but Chester Lamb gets an incredible run. So he's going to have the inside open up through the right-hander now. Is Chester Lamb going to make that move stick around the outside, tries to hold Zakiri, and he does hold it now. If he can hold it through the outside of... I believe it is turn 8, and then through the inside of turn 9, he might try to, but Chester Lamb's trying to make it 2 for 2 here, as he goes around the inside, makes it stick on Zakiri, and is now challenging Chris Chu, who has held steadfast for the first half of this race in P1.
As Yang Min Chu gets a slow down penalty in P5. Tell you what, Chris Chu is showing real maturity, as you'd expect in P1, but Chester Zikri has spun, and he's taken Chu with him. Zikri tried too hard, and a big crash from Nico Sage into Chris Chu. Well, that is a big smash for Chris Chu, and that will surely be his race over.
Wow, look at the damaged cars there. And Zikri, actually, looking at Zikri just now, when on the insert there, he was really upset with that, and obviously damaged his car, but I think he's trying to limp home, but you can see there he is. Nah, his race is done. So from possibly winning race 1 and possibly winning race 2, he's had nothing from today. Disaster for the young Malaysian.
So Chester Lamb is the main beneficiary, but I tell you, not a bad beneficiary either is this fella, Yang Ming Chu, because he's been able to get up into P3, and Villanova is in his sights for P2. So the winner of race number 1, a big beneficiary from that big smash involving Mohammed Zikri and Chris Chu, who's down in P19. As Yang manages to get through on the inside, will he hold the line? He won't hold the line, but this is going to be another battle. But what a huge moment that was, Kian Butler. Chris Chu's race demolished by Zikri, who himself is out of the contest.
Yeah, that was a bit of a crazy one, wasn't it? We saw going into the corner, the 2 Lotuses were essentially about to start scrapping away, and then it just looked like Zakiri got distracted for a second or something, because he just came steaming in as if he'd missed his braking point. So that was honestly a bit of a crazy one there, but while we're talking about that, Yang Ming Chu has done a great job getting into P2, so now it's his job now for his final third of the race to try and close that gap up to Chester Lamb ahead and put up a fight for P1.
Indeed, there is Chester Lamb, the Hong Kong racer, really rather enjoying this as Francis Montrillo gets a slow down penalty. In fact, let's go and look at that battle for P5, because Montrillo and Nazir Asman and Kelvin Pao are nose to tail. This is the battle for P5. Currently, Montrillo is the man in control of that position. He got himself P2 in race number 1, so this is looking like a nice little day for Francis Montrillo, but he's got to look after Kelvin Pao and Nazir Asman, who are scrapping.
Yeah, Nazir the engineer Asman, as he comes through, he's down now to P7 with Kelvin Pao ahead. A little bit of a breathing room for Francis Montrillo, but that Audi again finding itself. We're finding Audis inside of Audis here, but it is Asman, followed by Nico Sage behind, who is right on the tail of the Nazir. So there could be a move here into the heavy braking zone. These 2 are really just neck and neck, not much slipstream happening from that Audi to Audi. Nico Sage has a look on the inside now. Nazir pulls back around the outside, getting ready to take the wider line. Nico Sage is going to try. Oh, it's so close. They almost touch. Nazir does a great job to drive around the outside there as Nico Sage still trying to make the switchback happen around the outside again. But Nazir Asman in that Audi doing a brilliant job as they come down the home straight. Nico Sage is potentially going to try something. Nazir goes a little bit defensive, knowing that turn 1 is a pretty critical corner. That BMW behind of Eddie Wong is closing in though as well. So now it's a three-way battle for that 7th place position. 7th place, always a nice place to try and get on track as those Audis scrapping away. They are starting to try and set into file a little bit because they don't want to get that BMW too involved.
We can focus on these lower level battles, P7 as is, because Chester Lamb is leading by quite a long way. He is 4.5 seconds clear of Yang Min Chu in P2. So Yang Min Chu will be very, very doubtful that he'll get a win double, but he'd love to get a double podium. But he's got to look after Villanova first. At the moment, he hasn't set a best lap as Yang Min Chu. He's been stretching the limits of this track completely, but he's currently got in P2, and the lead over Villanova at the moment, Kian, just over half a second.
Yep. So that Lotus is starting to come back at the Porsche. We've seen that this Lotus seems to be the middle ground between the Audi and the Porsche. The Porsche being rapid in the straights, the Audi being really good on the braking and in the corners. And this Lotus seems to be right between the two, so maybe a bit more of a challenge to be placed by Villanueva. As we're down the back straight, he gets an incredible run compared to Yang Min Chu up ahead. So that Lotus is going to have the opportunity to make something happen. Look how close that car is to the car ahead now. As he pulls out of the slipstream, he has the inside line. It's going to be wheel to wheel, front to rear. So that is going to be... he does have the right of line there. As up the inside now goes Villanueva. It's going to be a switchback from Yang Min Chu. There's contact. Yang Min Chu into the dirt. So that is Yang Min Chu into the dirt. He's managed to keep it going in the right direction. So a good recovery there. Maybe just getting his elbows out a little bit too much, but now he's going to try and close that gap in what could be the final lap. It's going to be really tight. It depends on what Chester Lamb wants to do.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure this will be the final lap because Chester Lamb has got himself a big, big lead. Yeah, that's actually, it's such a big lead. It might be 2 laps to go, isn't it? I wasn't keeping a close eye on what the time was when he went over the start-finish line, but he has got enough in hand to actually begin to just hold back a little bit and make sure that this is the final lap for Chester Lamb.
Yeah, he has to try and, finish the race. He'll be able to do it. As he goes for the right-hander now, he's got a 5.3 second gap on Jansen Villanueva behind. So, even if he's pulling up, he has to pull out essentially a 2-minute 2 lap for there not to be enough time for him to slow down at the end and just take the checkered flag. That black and gold Lotus livery doing a brilliant job there for Chester Lamb as he's managed to just kind of, he wasn't one of the big protagonists towards the start of this race, but he was able to keep his nose clean, whereas the others around him weren't really able to do that, and he's been able to be the beneficiary of that.
Villanova, also a beneficiary of Yang Min Chu sliding off. Yang Min Chu, to his credit, has recovered and got himself back into P3 ahead of Clint Olive, but it's pretty much, if this is the final lap, it's pretty much a 1-2-3 for Hong Kong, Philippines, Malaysia, with an Australian Clint Olive in P4. So we're certainly getting around the globe with this bronze edition.
I guess that's why they call it ERGP Global Edition.
Absolutely. Hey. Don't just make this stuff up. Right, Chester Lamb, 20 seconds, 18 seconds. He's going to have to pull back just a little bit. He doesn't want to be silly enough and go over the start-finish line with a full lap to go because mistakes can happen. But I think he's just going to be able to hold on. And this will be a victory in the reverse grid race for Chester Lamb of Hong Kong. Yep, he's celebrating, able to pull back and make sure he doesn't crash, but Chester Lamb takes the victory ahead of Villanova, with Yang Min Chu making it a very good day for the Malaysian Copper champion. He picks up a win and a P3 for his first race of this short season. Rubber being spread by Chester Lamb. Clint Olive in 4, Matrio 5, Kelvin Pau in 6, and Nico Sage coming through in P7. So in the end, it was the man who was the most cautious who comes away with the victory, Chester Lamb. Kean Butler.
Yep, sometimes it's just about keeping your nose clean when there's others around you don't, and Chester Lamb's done a brilliant job. But Yang Ming-Chu came out today the victor in this Global Edition round 1 in bronze. He took the win in round 1, he took a podium in round 2, and that should give him a pretty nice buffer compared to those around him in terms of points.
Okay, I think we might be able to talk to Chester. Alex Young has got him on Zoom, and let's just see if we can get the communications going. Alex?
Yeah, let's see if we can talk to Chester right now. Just ask him to unmute his mic and see what we can say. But yes, the young Chester, can you hear us?
Clearly not.
Chester, we could hear you just now, but I think you've muted your mic now. Okay, so I think we've lost him now.
Oh, hello.
Hi, Chester, we can hear you.
Yes. It's
Good race.
Thank you.
What was the key moment for you?
The moment in the braking zone before after the fast left-hander, the Audi came like a torpedo that unfortunately taken out Chris Chu that was competing with me and the other competitor for the race win, and from that, my pace was quite good after that incident, and so it brings me the win, I think. And I think it's like a redemption podium because I got taken out at the last braking zone in the first race. So yeah.
Unlucky with that. What happened in that braking zone? Because you were looking really good for a podium in race 1 as well.
Yeah, that was surely a podium, but the Audi in front got spun round or something.
Yeah, we saw that.
And he accelerated into me and spun me round.
Unlucky. But you know, that I think you're second in the championship now. So you know, two more rounds to go. I think that's sets you up quite well. I mean, target to win the championship?
Yes, of course. Aim
Awesome.
high.
Awesome. And you're based out of Hong Kong. Are you in Hong Kong? Awesome.
Yes, I'm in Hong Kong.
Okay.
Well, great job from Chester picking up the win in the reverse grid race. We'll post the points up on Facebook at the end of today's racing. So, Chester, good job. Well done.
Well done.
Thank you.
And so our coverage of the bronze edition ends. 2 races. I tell you what, the reverse grid races have proved to be very, very interesting. We go up a class. We step up a class in just a moment when we go to the gold and silver boys. We'll be back with you on the eRGP in just a couple of minutes' time.